Hello and welcome to the weekend review on Oweleketv. I am Antonia Nwokolo. How was your weekend? Before we look at the events that happened, I am not alone in the studio. I have Pamela Ajero in the studio with me. How are you, Pamela?
I'm very, very fine.
Hope you had a splendid weekend. I can see from your smile that...
No, actually, there was nothing splendid about my weekend. It was
really?
very short.
Okay.
Just a tickling of the eyes. It was Monday.
Oh, you were expecting Monday too?
What's up? What's happening? I'm part of the people that don't look up to Mondays.
Are you for real?
Oh my God.
But you have to be at work. I'm glad you are here. You are here to share how your weekend went. Well, for me, I had a swell weekend. Yes, I was real rested. I enjoyed my weekend. And let's move on to what happened over the weekend. Now, over the weekend, we saw that some Yoruba groups, there was an attack on the Oyo State government house, and the Yoruba groups have disowned the attackers. They've come out to say that they were not the ones that sponsored this attack. So, you know, when you get all this, there'll be speculations going on that, oh, this is probably coming from a certain group. And now the Yoruba nation groups has come out to say they are not the ones, and they're also clamoring for investigations. The investigations will show. What do you, in this wake of the insecurity is becoming, is worsening on a daily basis.
This is what you call the height of insecurity. Yes, you can, from the pictures we even saw, those we were putting on army uniform, you can see. And one will wonder, what exactly are these security agencies actually doing? That those people have to enter into the government house to want to attack. And again, from what I heard, from what I read online, they're saying they are clamoring for the Yoruba nation to leave Nigeria, that they are being marginalized and they are not being taken care of and all what's not. But then investigation has to be carried out on that.
Absolutely.
The security, Nigerian security agency have to sit up and do more in their carrying out their insecurity safety for Nigerian citizens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we are going to be moving to the second story. And this is a very, very sad story for me. 10 years after the adopted Chibok girls appeared from nowhere, that's what I will say. And when we asked, where did they come out from?
They were exactly.
Released.
Yeah,
they were
from
released
wherever
from where?
they were being kept.
But the same thing, we have to go back to our security issues. They have to look into this matter. Where did those people come out from? And again, from the classroom, one becomes a mother. The last time they checked 10 years back, they were students. And after 10 years, we saw their own mothers. Yeah,
you know, the news had it that they came out with 34 children. 34 children, and now they are still expecting about 92 girls or 91 thereabout. It has been, for me, the trauma these ladies have gone through in the past
really
years is something else. And even on one of our programs, we talked about it where we're clamoring that the government would actually see to it that they get rehabilitation, they get medical checkups
with anybody else.
They get medical checkups, and because a lot has gone down, the scar is very, very deep.
And one will also think maybe these people that are out might even, they have to still investigate them to be sure that they are not working for these bandits. So one has to investigate those children to know that they didn't send them out there to start becoming their informants and give them back information on what is happening outside their own enclaves.
You know, that's where that rehabilitation comes to play, because over the years, so imagine a girl that was taken as at that time in 2014, 2015, and she had given birth a year after. So meaning she's coming out with a 9-year-old or coming out with an 8-year-old or 7-year-old. That child must have been taught some things. And when you come out to the open, meeting with the outside world, you'll be like, oh, this is not how we used to live and all of that. So that there's this place for reorientation. And I believe that if the government actually takes this very seriously and they provide professional mental help to these people, I'm sure there'll be better persons in the society. But it's something that is going to take a long time. It's not, the injury was not
just started first.
Yeah, the injury was not inflicted in a day, so we should not expect the cure in a day. Yeah, so moving on, this one is on a very joyous. You can see that my mood, my spirit was lifted because you know, Gospel Minister Theophilus Sunday and he got married to his fiancée, Ashlee. She's a real house mogul, real estate mogul, I beg your pardon. And the wedding took place in Utako in Abuja. And I remember I was telling Chris on Saturday that, don't you think we should just go to Utako and attend this wedding? Let's go. Because seeing it, you know, there's this news about gospel ministers not going for Nigerian women, where they prioritize, they say, oh, we are talking to God, we are praying to the...
They waiting for confirmation.
Honestly, keep me at the altar. You are just praying, and all of a sudden they just come out with, this is the love of my life. And you're like, Pastor,
what's happening?
When did you have time for love? When did you have time for love?
One thing I saw in that wedding is the wedding turned, like, it left wedding to a revival. And one will wonder, what's up? Nigerian gospel artists, what is happening? Well, before you know it, they'll just turn their wedding concert to a revival. This is wedding, for God's sake. Can we just do the main thing? Do it, and people can go to their different places.
But you know, there are no straitjacket ways to these things. People do what they love at their weddings.
But this is a wedding.
Yeah, it's a wedding. There's no...
Same thing with Vicky James.
Vicky James, yeah, I was about mentioning it, that when she invited the 200 city choir...
Apart from
Pamela, don't go there.
She even did a revival also. What's up?
The 200 city choir, they came for the wedding, and they had like a food, and where she led them in the song Olugbeja, and when she knelt down, Nigerians dragged her. They dragged her like Tiger Generator. But that's on our side. You can do what you want to do on your wedding. So far, you have fun, and that your marriage, the overall thing is that your marriage would be a blissful one, and it will last long. That is what should be the underlying. I get to see
people get to prioritize this wedding, and I hope they are really prepared for the main thing, the marriage.
The wedding is just a day, but the marriage is a lifetime. So aside all this paparazzi, this glitz and glam, the marriage is what is most important, not the wedding day.
Please, let's take note about that. Now we're moving to the next story. Labour proposes fresh 615,000 minimum wage demand. And one would say, with all the new policies this new government has brought affront, I guess this is necessary for Nigerians, because Nigerians are thrown out of balance. See the fuel scarcity, the fuel increment, see subsidy gone, and all lots of new policies that have been out there. I feel this new minimum wage, if government can adhere to it, can help Nigerians too.
Thank God you added that, if they can adhere to it.
If they can.
Because I was about asking that. Yeah, I was about asking that. Are you sure? Before now, sometime earlier this year, the NLC had come out and they said they were proposing 400,000. There were talks about 200,000. Later, we heard 400,000. They even planned a protest. The protest did not see they intended 2 days, and they just did it for 1 day. And the NLC chairman came out to say that they stopped the protest because he was intimidated, and all sorts of things came out during that time. And now 615,000 naira, which small, okay, if we just hope that they do something. It's a whole lot, because in Nigeria we know, except they are deciding to like do something a lot different this time around. There are a lot of issues. And we just hope that they do something. They do something,
even if they don't give them up to that amount. At least there should be something
that to be commensurate to the economic realities, because having 30,000 naira as the minimum.
How much are things in the market? People are clamoring for dollar to come down. Dollar is down now, at least. But then the talk of the price of things in the market are still very, very high.
You know, this brings us to the point. This brings us to the point that sometimes it is not about the government. Do you understand? Okay. Sometimes it's not about the government.
I feel governments still have something to do about this. They can go to the market, find a way to regularize prices of goods. I can remember a time my mom was telling me a story of how government, that was 1990s, have to enter the market task force. They'll ask you how much is so thin. If it's not the amounts that you're meant to pay, they lock up your shop.
Yeah.
They find a way to regularize the price so citizens can
you know, these markets of nowadays, they have these task forces, but what they are concerned about, like there are some markets in Delta states, they are only concerned about the vendors entering the road. So you know, some people will want to sell their wares, they will bring out their wares to the main road, and vehicles is causing traffic, accidents will happen and all of that. So this task force actually help to push these people. But if they actually step up their game to see that, oh, prices are regulated, I'm sure it would go a long way to, because if the prices are not regulated, even if the dollar comes down to 100 naira, some people will still sell at the price, and they will tell you it was old stock. And I know they say this thing that what goes up in Nigeria does not come down.
It's the truth.
The law of gravity does not apply in Nigeria. Okay, moving on. Let's look at yesterday. Why are you laughing, Pamela?
The story I was looking up to.
Okay. Oh, you were actually waiting for this story.
I was waiting for the last story.
Okay. And I'm sure you have been waiting for the last story. So comment so far if your thoughts on the topics the stories we've highlighted so far. Let us know your thoughts on each and every one of them. The minimum wage, the attack on the Oyo State government house, everything we'll be talking about. Let us know while we look at the final story for today's episode. Now, there was a woman giving a testimony in church, and then Adunamis and then Pastor Enenche interrupted her and asked her questions about her testimony. Pamela, Nigerians are dragging Pastor Paul and they are saying he should apologize to the lady. That that act of interrupting her during her testimony and questioning her and telling her she was lying was totally uncalled for. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Nigerians out there trying to tell him to apologize. That act was uncalled for. It's my testimony. Like, it's me. I'm trying to share what God has done. And if you check, that woman is aged. Like, she didn't go to school when her mates were going to school.
Like, I feel that's she's advanced.
Yes, she's advanced. That's her main testimony. The fact that she's advanced and she went to school and she's trying to share that I went to school so time and I've graduated. That's her main testimony. And you wouldn't expect her to speak English the way a young blood would come out of the university would actually speak. I know the man was doubting her because of the way she spoke.
And you know, he asked her that, what did you study? And then she mentioned BSc in law.
For me, that's a stage fright. Like anything, it's not everybody that can come out to the stage and with a microphone speak fluently. Some people are good, but when it comes to facing the crowd, you see that they cannot be able to handle that. I feel that was what happened to her. Maybe the thing just came out.
Like, he caught her off guard.
Yes, he caught her off guard, and the way the man reacted to it was really uncalled for. For my testimony, for God's sake. It's me. I'm trying to share what God has done for me.
You know, I think...
But if you check it again, why would she want to come out there and lie?
There are lots of people. So before now, some persons have said off camera that some people come to that church, and not just that church, some other churches in particular, just because they want to say something. They fabricate stories, they make up stories and come out and say, God has done this for me. Or mention names of people that God used so and so person to help me, when in actual sense they did not. Some also blow what has happened to them out of proportion. So for instance, maybe I don't want to give examples, but they blow out of proportion. And I'm also thinking that it is in that light that Pastor Paul Enenche had stopped her. And another thing is, some other people will say, okay, why didn't he call her afterwards?
Yeah.
Like, maybe he would have waited for her to finish giving the testimony and then call her aside to tell her, oh, XYZ, you did, what did you do this?
Do you know there's another angle?
Yeah.
Most people look out to pastors, like they revere pastors.
Like look up to them?
Yes, they look up to them, they reveal them that this man is who I'm looking up. But the way Paul Enenche went about it, I know it will destabilize her, and I don't think she will want to look up to Pastor Enenche, even if she was telling a wrong story or a lie. Afterwards, she would have called her, my daughter, are you sure this is how it is? As a pastor that he is, he would have cancelled her. This is not how, even if there's something you would have just done behind the camera, not in front of the whole crowd.
Don't you think he also did that? This is me trying to play devil's advocate here. Don't you think he also did that to serve as a deterrent? Because one will not just wake up in the morning.
There are other ways.
Pamela,
do you know what is self-confidence?
Yeah,
I understand
what you mean, to come up on stage and talk to millions.
In a slip of an eye, you are bringing down that confidence, and the person have to start all over again. No, that's a very wrong thing.
And you know, another thing, what I wanted to say was that maybe he did that to serve as a deterrent, because one would not. So your I want to say parishioner now, your church member, cannot be giving a testimony and then you just walk up to the stage and start interrogating the person and asking questions about the testimony if people had not in time past done something similar and he got to learn of it. So basically, I feel what he did, this is me playing devil's advocate, what he did was coming from a place of let it serve as a deterrent to others who would also lie.
I don't
and
agree
another thing is when we actually check for the BSc in law, you know, she said she had a BSc in law. What's actually there is BSc in legal studies. And then if you actually did law in your undergraduate days, what you would have is a Bachelor of Law, and the short form is LLB. So a lot of people are like, okay, if you did this and with the way you speak, there are a lot of angles to this story.
For my final point is, I feel he was actually trying to prove a point, but to the detriment of another person's own health and confidence. That's really, really bad for me.
Okay, our viewers, let us know in the comments. Do you think what Pastor Enenche did was, do you think there are other ways he could have gone about it? Or do you think that this was the best approach? If he did not call it out immediately, other people would have continued in that line. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you so much, Pamela, for sharing your thoughts with us on this conversation. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I am Antonia Nwokolo.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleke TV. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleke TV, rising star at the fairground.